What is a major sign that we are at the end of the world or end of an age? In parentheses, Esau, Edom is the end of the world or the end of this age. All right, so without any further ado, I'd like to say, Kal Halal, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Ruach Wadash, Thawada, Yahweh, for giving us Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles of GMS who have the 100% spirit of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai in them. Double honors to the CT bishops, elders of GMS, our Big Akim. Greetings and salutations to the Akim in this country and all over the world who are prophesying in the true name of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, which is none other than the power of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and anybody who are descendants from those people on their father's side. Shalom to those who are scattered abroad. I'm your Iquab, Lord willing, serving the King of the universe, King Yahushai, from the power of Yahweh, the Father of our Lord and the Father of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect. One more again, the title is What is a major sign that we are at the end of the world or an age? In parentheses is Esau, right? Ishashua, Edom, Adawam, the red man is the end of the world. Now, what spawned this show is this quick short you see here, which is about a minute and 20 seconds long. I saved this a few days ago in hopes of making a show going into Jacob and Esau. That yes, you can have parents, parents of the same color. In this case, like in the scriptures, black, so-called black people, right? So-called a black a man and a so-called black woman. Yes, they can. They can. It does exist that you can have children. One can come out melanin, and one can come out with no melanin. And that's basically the founding the founding story of of our forefather Jacob. In our wicked, I guess you can say wicked fraternal uncle Esau. All right, and Jacob today are you 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Right, Jacob's name means supplanter, our forefather, which means it was basically an omen nomen or a name prediction of what Jacob meant for the latter days. Right, because remember the Most High's promises came through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Through his 12 sons, which is basically like 12 nations, a nation within a nation. But the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, which are you again, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and anybody who descends from those people on their father's side, right? We will, according to our forefather's name, we will act on that name through the Spirit of the Lord and take over. And it's already happening because the takeover is starting with the Most High's name and the Lord's name, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Right, and now Esau, Jacob's wicked brother, fraternal brother, is this right here. Now, again, like I said, I wanted to do a show stemming off like, okay, you can have so-called black parents, right? And you can still have children that one can come out melanin and the other one cannot. Again, that's the same exact story that's written about the beginning of our people. And this, I was going to go into, this kind of reiterates that. Yes, it does exist. It can happen. Now, this is a real story, but this is I think AI generated or whatever, I think. But overall, it is a real story, and there's been many accounts of this happening all over the world. A few times. But the most famous one is in the scriptures, and it's foretelling of right now, like the show is going to go into, right? Because again, what I want to go into is that, like I thought about, sat down and meditated on this topic on a higher level, and to say, well, instead of just doing the Jacob and Esau show, hey, it relates to the latter days, right? So we're going to go into Second Ezra 6 and 9, because the prophet Ezra actually asks the answer. He asked a question, and the answer that the angel gave him back was basically Jacob and Esau. All right. So we're going to go into that. That was his answer back to the question Ezra had, and the question Ezra's had was, what is the last kingdom, or the last rulership, or the drawing line of when the old world ends and then the new world begins? Like, what is the last rulership, or the last kingdom before the kingdom of Israel, before the kingdom of the Most High, the kingdom of the Most High through his son Yahushai, when the nation of Israel is ruling? So again, the answer that the angel gave him was Jacob and Esau, and we're about to go into that. Now again, it's written in the Apocrypha, and we're going to go into that, and bring it out. All right. Now, people like to dismiss the Apocrypha, but it's part of the original Bible, the King James Version Bible. Be specific, the 1611 King James Version Bible, which was a remake, by the way. The early rendition for that was 1604, and then King James, he did it over in 1611. And then I think Apostle always brings it out that there's a certain writing, there's a certain writing that goes into, an epilogue that goes into that there is that King James, he wanted to revise it again, but didn't get a chance to. Meaning that there was still some stuff missing or mistakes that they need fix. So it just shows you, and what does that mean? That in the 1611 King James Version Bible, it was translated. It was translated from the Latin to the English. Okay. Which for it tells you that again, the Holy Scriptures had to be translated or broken down throughout languages, right? Because it started off in the ancient Hebrew, right down to the Greek, which I've done a show on that, going into the Septuagint, right? When Alexander the Great got the Scriptures, right, and all the literature from the old world in the Alexandrian library, and translated the Dead Sea Scrolls, or the scrolls of the scriptures, and translated it into what was called the Septuagint, or translated into to the Greek, right? But before I go on and rant about that, is that the Apocrypha was taken out of the King James Version Bible. For financial reasons, and also by a group called the Bible Destruction Group, which was in the 19th century. But they most and but the real reason why, on another level, is because the Apocrypha was really clear about the Most High's point of views about who his people are. Number one, it showed you that. It showed you about the end of the world, which we're about to read. It showed you the age of the world, age of the planet Earth, which would debunk anything that people say today, which is beyond a lie. What they come up with, the age of the world today. It tells you how old the Earth is in the Apocrypha. right? It tells you what happened to the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom of the nation of Israel. It tells you that the northern kingdom, which are you Latino tribes, or the house of Ephraim, that they fled away Assyrian captivity, right? And went to another part of the world, the fourth part of the world, which is called the Americas we're in now, that they were already over here, right? The proof is the Incas, the Mayas, uh, um, the Incas, the Mayans, the Aztecs, right? Those were our people, the Northern Kingdom, the North American Indian, the Similan Indian, which is really tribe of Gad, tribe of Reuben, right? The northern tribe came over here, right, because they already knew about this land going into the history of King Solomon. But the point is that the Apocrypha points out that who were the lost tribes of the nation of Israel, where they went. So again, when the conquistadors came here, you would understand that, okay, yeah, the people who were here already, those were the Israelites. All right, so that was a long intro, but I'm gonna play this video, and like I said, I wanted to do a Jacob and Esau video, but I said, you know what, let me just focus on and do it to the latter days. Second Ezra 6 and 9. That's pretty much doing one better. All right, because my title was gonna be the Most High made it extremely easy, right? But a better way to say it is, what is a major sign that we are at the end of the world or end of the age? And Esau, all right, because what Esau in the Hebrew is Ishashua, which means wasted away is he, no skin pigmentation. So the very fact that you have some called the people called the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the Gettysburgs, the Bergs, whatever, Gettysburgs, proves to you that the prophecies are true, right? So we're gonna get right into it, and let me just play this video, and then I'm just gonna bring out some scriptures.
And how they are today will enchant. They were called the rarest twins in the world. And how they are today will enchant you. When Nala and Zuri were born, silence filled the room. They were identical twins, but with a difference impossible to ignore. Nala was born black, with dark skin and curly hair, while Zuri came into the world completely albino, with porcelain white skin and light blue eyes.
That would be called leprosy in the scriptures. All right, no color in the hair, the blonde hair, no color in the skin, melanin, and no color or pigmentation in the eyes. Right, that's albino. Right, meaning no melanin, and anywhere. Okay, which is a autoimmune disease as well. Something that same thing that Michael Jackson had. Leprosy, which I want to do something on that in the future. Lord willing. But anyway, so when Esau was born, or Esau goes back to the name Ishashua, again in the Paleo Hebrew, which is wasted away is he. Right? No skin pigmentation, no skin melanin, no color. All right? And this is a curse. Right? The same curse that Cain got, right? And he came back in the reincarnation, or back in the flesh, and he came back a clean leopard. A clean leopard. All right. Matter of fact, I could pull that up in Leviticus 13. We'll go to that quick, but let's finish looking at this video. See, okay, these are now you can this image here, you can say that's Isaac and Rebecca, right? Okay, Isaac and Rebecca. All right.
parents, both black, were confused and frightened. They had never seen anything like it. The doctors explained that it was an extremely rare case, the result of an extremely improbable genetic combination. As the months passed, the difference became even more evident. Z's skin, the twin, became increasingly white, a tone so light that it contrasted even more with her sister. Photos of the two began circulating on the internet and the world was enchanted by the unlikely and united pair. But it wasn't easy. Many asked if they were really sisters. Some even doubted they were twins. Today, Nala and Zuri remain inseparable. Together, they charm millions of people with smiles that light up any room. If you thought they were beautiful, hit the like button, comment "beautiful" in the comments, and share with your friends.
Okay, so these are the girls. Okay, now in the scriptures is obviously men, right? Two boys, Jacob and Esau, right? And just wanted to just wanted to show that video real quick. Now let's go to the Apocrypha. We'll go to matter of fact, we all know the Jacob and Esau story, but let me first get Leviticus. I'm just going by memory. I believe it's Leviticus 13. Okay, you see here it says the test for leprosy. All right, the test. There's a way to test it. I'm going to right to the point here. How many verses? 59. I might skip around because I just want to go to the point. It's 59 verses, so let the Spirit be with us. So we're just going to read. And I'm just going off, just reading any scripture, This wasn't, I didn't plan any, write anything down. So this is this test for leprosy. It says, "And the Lord spoke unto Moses and Aaron, saying, When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh, a rising, a scab, a bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priest. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of his flesh, and when the hair and the plague is turned white, and the plague in sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him, pronounce unclean." So we could get a visual on that. And we can type in let's see. Vitiligo. I forgot how you spell that. Vitiligo. Okay, so as you see, it says vitiligo. So it says vitiligo is a villa. I don't know why it says it like that. No, vitiligo. Yeah. Yeah, let's do a little better. Vitiligo disease. All right, so it says vitiligo is a chronic autoimmune skin condition where the immune system attacks and destroys melanocytes, the cells that produce skin pigment, melanin, leading to milky white patches on the skin, right? skin, hair, and mucous membranes, often affecting the face, hands, and feet. While not physically harmful, it can cause emotional distress with treatment like phototherapy, typical creams, and sometimes surgery aiming to slow spread or repigment skin. Though it has no cure and can be unpredictable with potential links to other autoimmune disorders like lupus, I believe. That's what Michael Jackson had. He had vitiligo. Symptoms: white or lighter patches of skin that can be round, oval, or linear. Loss of color in hair, scalp, eyelashes, eyebrows. Often symmetrical and more noticeable in darker skin. That's right. Can develop on sun-exposed areas, folds. So yeah, you get the point. We all know what this is. So let's look at the images, as you can see. So you see they come as spots, right? Now you understand why they call it leprosy, because like a leopard has spots too, right? Let's be more specific. Leopard spots. All right. See? Leopard. Matter of fact, let's look at the etymology of leopard real quick. Let's look at the etymology of that. It's for edification sake of the show. I'm trying to get the actual word. Leopard, large cat, la la la. You know that. I'm only pulling this up because it might show something about spots, but I don't see nothing yet. Leopard. Oh, leopard. A proverbial references to its inability to change its spots are from Jeremiah 20. What's this? In the Middle English, the word is often in heraldry, but it refers to a lion passing guardian. Okay, a purr. Okay, well there was nothing there. I thought it might relate the word, so let's go back. But leopards have spots. That's what's really called a leopard, but it was kind of saying other things. But let me not veer too far off. Now you can see here there's spots of what? Spots of lighter skin. Okay, that's darker than the rest, right? So that's clear. So let's go back to the Apocrypha. So we just showed you that when a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising a scab, bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought to the Aaron the priest unto one of his sons and the priest. So if you look up the Strongs and look up where is it at? Leprosy. Leprosy in Paleo Hebrew is Tazara'ith, Tazara'ith, which is I don't know what that word is. Elephantitis, a scab, a garment. I never saw that word before. That's Aleph. Just curious what that word is. Aleph Fenanti. It says Elephantiasis is also known as a lymphatic filariasis, is a parasitic disease causing extreme swelling, edema, and hardening of skin and limbs. Yeah, well, anyway, this is already half an hour, and didn't even get started with this like what I wanted to go into, so I can't help it. All right, so we got that point. I want to get straight to the point here. Pre-sugar plague skin. You read that part. So that's what leprosy is. That's what this baby. When you see in this picture here. I don't know why it's not coming up like it was before. All right, I don't know why it's not coming up the way it was before. All right, sorry. Let's go back to getting sidetracked. All right. So I just want to go to the point because I think there's a point where it says a clean leopard. Matter of fact, let me type it in because I'll be here for days looking for it. Clean leopard. Because like I said, we're reading like the test of it, but I just wanted to show you that real quick. Leprosy. All right, so I think it's 13 and 13. So yeah, right here. So verse 12, right? It says, and if a leprosy break out abroad into the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider and behold, if the leprosy have covered all the flesh, he shall pronounce him clean. That hath the plague, it is all turned white, he is clean. But when the raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. All right. So we just read if it's from all over your body, that's a clean leopard. One sec, real quick. Now there's something there's called a blonde hair too. Blonde hair. It's like I'm kind of looking all this stuff up now. I forget what that one is. Blonde hair. One sec. Okay, it doesn't say blonde hair. It says yellow. So okay, let's get the yellow part. So it says, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, Leviticus 13:30. Then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in the sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scale, even leprosy upon the head or beard. All right. So just wanted to show Leviticus 13. Show you what a clean leopard is, right? From head to toe. Then you could have spots of leprosy on you, right? And also, if you're full leopard, you can have blue eyes, you can have blonde hair. Okay, that's a curse. Same curse Cain got. All right, so this you can read this whole thing on that, and that's a proof, right? So going back to, see, get that picture again. Right, there they go. So we just kind of read over that, right? All right. Now let's go to, so we just proved that in Leviticus. Let's go to, before I go to the main scripture in Esdras, let's go to Jacob and Esau, edification's sake. Kind of back to the basics. Isaac's son. We're going to read it real quick. It says, Isaac's son, right? And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And it says, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Right? Meaning, well, we're about to read. And the Lord Yahweh said unto her, the two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So the Most High said, answered her, through a priest, of course, right, and said that what? There are two nations in your womb. Okay, there are two nations in your womb, and there are two manner of people. This is self-explanatory, right? Matter of fact, I never saw it in NLT. Let's see how that looks. It says the first one. Where we at? Isaac pleaded with the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was unable to have children. The Lord answered Isaac's prayer, and Rebekah became pregnant with twins. But the two children struggled with each other in the womb, so she went to ask the Lord about it. Why is this happening to me? Okay, well, good to hear in NLT sometimes too. Let's go back to the original. So back, it says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in their womb, and two manner of people should be separated at their bowels, and one people should be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Yeah, so again, two people, two different nations. I'm sorry, let me see what it says in NLT with this one. Two different nations. This is okay. This is my first time seeing an NLT here. It says the sons in your womb will become two nations. From the very beginning, the two nations will be rivals. Whoa, look at that. Okay, one nation will be stronger than the other, and your older son will serve your younger son. Simple. Meaning that you're going to be slaves. So who's the older son? Right? Well, that's not a good one. Who's the older son? Is Esau. All right? Esau. So right, so that older son, they're gonna become slaves. We're reading it now. From the beginning, from the very beginning, the two nations will be rivals. Let's go back to the NLT. And one shall be stronger than the other. Very simple. And the elder shall serve the younger, a slave, a servitude. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were two twins in a room, and the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, right? No melanin. Esau. Aishashawa. Aisha. Aisha. Wa. Hairy. Means more than that, though. It says hairy, rough. Esau. Which is, however, more used with regard to his posterity rather than of the man himself. On the other hand, la la la. Edomites rather as a potential expression. And they're not going to give it, of course, everything here in the blue letter, but we'll dig and see. There's a lot in here, right? But we get it too much to read, and it shows too long. All right, so we read that. It says, and when her days to be delivered were filled, behold, there were two twins in a room, and the first came out red, all over there like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came out his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years and old when she bare him. Excuse me. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. Okay, this is the actual. We're reading the actual account of Jacob holding Esau's heel, right? Which again was a future omen of Esau's downfall. By the way, your heel is has holds the most delicate tendon, which is your Achilles heel. You lose the Achilles heel, you can't walk. A critical tendon. So the fact that Jacob held Esau's heel, meaning that it's again a future omen to show he ain't gonna walk and he ain't gonna be walking forever. All right, he's gonna be brought down to the ground. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was three scores. So we read that. So just wanted to get that quick history in there. So let's go to the Apocrypha now and read the actual account, the title of the show. All right, I'm gonna start from verse 1 and the points in 9. All right. So this is Esdras, the prophet Esdras, talking to an angel. It says, "And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the wind blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of the paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys in Zion were hot, and ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed, that they have gathered faith for a treasure. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other." So this is the Most High speaking, right? Talking about the creation and what was he's telling you his mind state even before things were actually officially created, his mind. "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?" So I'm sorry, verse 6 said um he considered before everything was created, he considered it. He already had the ending, the middle, and the beginning, middle, and ending. Right? Just like when you have a when you have a story, let's say a movie, the script is already written, right? So before you get you get your cast, you start casting people, you start picking your actors before you start picking the set, before you start producing for the movie, right? You get the point. Before you even start producing a movie and choosing your characters and choosing film location and editing and all that, what happens first? It's already written. You already wrote the script. So that's what the Lord is saying here. Before He created the world and the universe and created sin and everything that goes around that and the world and the universe, etc., choosing His people, who's going to be the evil, who's going to be the good. You know what I'm saying? He already considered all that, right? So Ezra said, Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? So when's going to be that time when, okay, the the first part ends and the beginning of the kingdom continues? All right, it says it plain right there. The end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth. It says, And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac and Jacob and Esau were born. Of him Jacob's hands held first the heel of Esau. So again, this is a major question that Ezra is asking of when's gonna be the beginning of the when's gonna be the end of the first and the beginning of the new kingdom, of the kingdom that's forever. You know, the promises that we're gonna get. And the angel answered him and said, right, didn't give no long explanation. He went back to the story of Jacob and Esau, because the story of Jacob and Esau is a direct answer and a direct omen to the future, which is now, and also an omen of who we are as a people and how we're going to take this man down, the nation of Edom. So again, so we just went through Jacob and Esau, and we went through the story, and it's telling you again, verse 8. And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, right, the promises, when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. That's the first thing. Because remember, it says, For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Now, when you will look up the word world there, it really goes back to eon, which means age, right? It doesn't mean the world, or in the Greek, it would have been oikumene, like the planet Earth. But that word world there is eon, which means the time and age. You know, you have like the golden age, the bronze age, you have different ages throughout history. So this is talking about Esau's age. Okay. For Esau, that word there again is Ishashua, which means wasted away is he. What is a wasted away? This man's skin pigmentation, the father of the nation of Edom. So for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So that's the answer, and how the Most High made it extremely easy, but only for the elect to know the signs, like the beginning of the new world and the end of the one that's going to end right before the new world, right? But what's going to be the last rulership established or in place before the kingdom of the Lord or the kingdom of Israel begins? And the answer was like you see here. Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob, right, the 12 tribes in the nation of Israel, is the beginning of it that followeth. So that's the answer. That at the end of the day, the major sign, going back to the title, what is a major sign that we are at the end of the world or the end of an age, right, is Esau's in rulership. The one who has no melanin is in rulership, right? Now we can go to, let me keep reading this. It says, Now the hand of a man is between or betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Exodus asked, Thou not. So again, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning it that followeth. The hand of a man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Ezra asked, Thou not. Okay, so he gave him his answer. All right. So that hand, Jacob's hand, on Esau's heel, is the answer that we are at the end of the world, and we're coming to that time now. Right. So to prove that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth, we can go to which proves Job 9:24 that okay, if Esau is the end of the world and he's the last kingdom before the kingdom of Israel is set up, or before the kingdom of Israel is established by the Lord Himself, Yahweh Shai, then what does this mean? That the Lord will have to be coming back to a world that is wicked, right? If you look here, it says this is the prophecy of Esau. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So this is a fully loaded precept here, or scripture, because it says the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked, right? Because the Most High, He's the one who sets up, He gives power onto, matter of fact, it tells you that in Job 12. You can get it real quick. Job 12, right here. It says Job speaks on the power of God. And what is one of the powers of the Lord? He could set up whoever He wants to rule, right? And he gave all these other nations their time to rule, but to show the world and to show history that He gave other nations their time to rule with your understanding, with their so-called truth or their knowledge, and you still failed, all right? You didn't rule. So He gave them the shot to rule. They couldn't rule because your rules it cannot uphold. It doesn't live forever. See, but the Lord's rules, they're eternal. And He gave that to the nation of Israel, strong with Yahweh Shai. So real quick, with Him is wisdom and strength, and He hath counsel and understanding. Behold, He breaketh down, it cannot be built again. He shutteth up a man, and there can be no opening. Behold, He withholdeth the waters. He withholdeth the waters, and they dry up also. He sendeth them out, and they overturn the earth. With Him is strength and wisdom, and the deceiver are His. All right. He leadeth counsel away spoiled, and maketh them judges fools. He looseth the bonds of kings, and girdeth the loins with a girdle. He leadeth princes away spoiled, and overthroweth the mighty. So rulers, princesses, they're the ones the Lord controls. If you get robbed, if your kingdom falls down or gets taken over, or he decides if you're prosperous. He removeth away the speech of the trusty, and taketh away the understanding of the aged. So yeah, we can see that happening now with the orange criminal, Nero 47. Right here it is at the top of the year in 2025. Everybody trusted this man. Now we're at the last month of the year, only a few weeks up to the end of the year, and nobody trusts this man. Who did that? The Lord did. We're reading it now. So He's the one who makes you trust people and not trust people. He's the one who gives you power and looses your power. He poureth out contempt upon princesses, and weakeneth the strength of mighty. He discovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. The point, He increaseth the nations, and destroyeth them. He enlargeth the nations, and straighteneth them again. Right? He taketh away the heart of the chief of the people of the earth. He causes them to wander in the wilderness where there is no way. They grope in the dark without light, and He maketh them to stagger like a drunken man. And we're coming to that now. Like a lot of people, if you don't got the mind of the Lord, you're just gonna basically be wandering in the wilderness with no hope in sight. Right? And the Lord's He's slowly, gradually taking away the minds of the people, the heart of the people, especially the leaders. Right? But the point was, He increases the nations and destroyed them again. He enlarges the nations and straightened them again. Also, you got Daniel's 4:17. Right here it says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the watchers are the angels. Okay. And the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever He will, and setteth up over the basis of men. So as the Lord is very clear to Scripture, He's the one who sets up. He's the He's the one that rules in this realm. He's the one that gives power or takes away power from the ones who have power, right? Let me say it right. He's the one who gives you power to rule. He's the one who gives you power to not rule anymore. He's the one who makes people trust you. He's the one who makes people not trust you. Okay? And he also can set up the basis of men. All right? He can set up the lowest nation on earth to rule. And that's the power of the Lord. That's like having a bunch of rats ruling in the jungle, ruling over lions in the jungle. Okay? The Lord can do that. All right, so let's go back to Job 9 and 24. So the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So we just proved that the earth, he decides, or he controls who has the power in as far as society, nations, governing the world. He does that. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? Not a region of the earth. We're talking about the whole planet Earth, right? So that's how you know it has to be talking about the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, who are the descendants of the Edomites, or excuse me, descendants of Esau, the father of the Edomites, Genesis 36, and right. But it tells you that excuse me, got distracted. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked, the nation of Edom. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So because the Rothschilds have complete control, or the rich banking families have complete control over this earth, proves that they have to be, by a process of elimination, or by the without by default, they are the wicked, because they have complete control of the earth, right? Lock, stock, and barrel. That's never been seen or done before in the whole earth. All right. You had other empires like the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, but they ruled a part of the world, part of the region of the world, but they didn't control the whole world, right? Esau, the rich banking families, they do, right? By satellites, first of all, the whole known world, and also satellites, whatever have you, okay? And it says he covered the faces of the judges thereof, because the ultimate judge, or which comes from, for you to be a judge, it has to come from a set of laws for you to judge from. The only laws that you can actually, that are you can judge from, are the laws and statutes that was given out to the nation of Israel. Without that, you're not judging. So the ultimate judge is the Most High, the Lord Yahushua, and the prophets, because they're the ones that administer the laws of the Lord, starting with only to his people, right? So you covered the faces of the judges by a term called iconoclasm, icon destroyer, or whitewashing, right? Breaking the nose off the statues, right? Painting white images, whitewashing images of our people that was before had color in these paintings. If not, where and who is he? Because if it wasn't them, who is it? They're the ones that had the power to whitewash images, whitewash our Lord, whitewash the Most High. They're the ones that can that had the power to destroy icons and to hide it, right? And do some called manifest destiny, where they wipe away the history and then create their own. They manifest their own lies, and we're at this stage where nobody knows, but the Lord is revealing it to the world of what this man has done. right? All right, so yeah, that's basically it. That was way too long, but it's all right, it's spirit, and that's the way it came out. Um, or that's the way I brought it up. So anyway, again, the title is I was gonna make it the Most High made it extremely easy for you to know what time we're in. But I changed the title so it makes better sense to say what is a major sign that we are at the end of the world or the end of an age. And in parentheses, the answer is Esau, Edom is the end of the world. All right. So again, and this is the quick clip that sparked everything. Like I said, I wanted to go into Jacob and Esau, but better, what's better than that is showing Jacob and Esau and what they really mean on as far as a sign to the world. And this is a major one that these people here with no melanin, no color, right? They're going to be ruling in the last days. As a matter of fact, if I could find it, let me see. Rothschild. Here go the leprosy scriptures again. I mean, leprosy. Look at that. Pretty bad, huh? See, you Edomites, you're a full leopard. You are full leopard. Um, Let me see something real quick. I was just gonna type in something. I forgot. Oh, let's type in. Actually, you know what? Rothschild. We know it goes back to Red Shield, but I just want to see what it. Yeah, so I put Rothschild, Red Shield means the same thing, but this is the coat of arms for the Rothschilds, right? It's a red shield. Now, get this. Now, the word shield, right? So basically, if you translate this word Rothschild, it really goes back to red child. Red child. I could prove to you. Let's go to the word child in etymology. No, actually, let's go to shield. Let's go to shield. And I believe that word goes back to child, because your child is supposed to be like a shield. Matter of fact, let's look up let's look up child. That might come up better. Child etymology. See if we can find some here. All right, newborn person. Da, da, da. All right, now I couldn't find etymology for child that proves we went back to shield, but there's a scripture that kind of reiterates that as far as the relationship between a parent and a child, because I in essence, a child is the parent's shield when they get older, right? And as far as shield is protection, there's no greater form of protection. It breaks down the gender. Only the gender of a man can protect, right? That's the essence of a man, is to protect his lineage and his family, right? So and it's really the father and his son. You as a father, you raise your son to be the shield of the family, right? So again, he that loveth his son causeth him also to feel a rod. The point in 6, that he may have joy of him in the end. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he hath left one behind him that is like himself. While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. So basically, like a shield, you're raising a child to stand in your place, right? Like it says, he left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. Right? Right? It says here, while he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. Why? Because he left an avenger. He left a shield to the family's name. And that's in essence what you do when you raise a child. So going back to Red Shield, Red Child. Oh, it does. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. I thought it said it there. Child. Is that it right there? Hmm. Right? So that's really what that Rothschild means. Roth goes back to red and red shield. So basically he's saying red child. Rockefellers, Oppenheimers, you get it. All right. And really their name was, if you look at Mara Amshah Bauer, he is the forefather of the rulers today. Rothschilds today. Right? The Red Shield, the history of the Rothschilds. Right? Because the Rothschild dynasty or legacy, their lineage, their children avenged their parents, and it went on so on and so forth, through a man called Mayer Amschel Bauer. Mauer. I don't know how to spell his name, Amschel. Bauer means peasant, by the way, too. Okay, Meyer Amschel Bauer. Meyer Amschel Redchild. All right. So all his children, right? Did they not act as a shield to the family lineage? The answer is yes. All right, so that was it. Okay, so the people who have no melanin, like you see here, right? These are leprosy, spotted leopard. But the ones who are clean leopard, they're going to be ruling in the last days. And again, that's a major sign we're at the end. Okay, that we're at the end. So I'll blow this up again. Matter of fact, let's blow this up one more time. Alright, and we're gonna leave it at that. Alright, so with that, I'll say Kala Halal, Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai, Bahashim Kwakadash, the water Yahweh, forgiving Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles, double honors to the CT bishops, and the show was a little long, but I pray it was edifying. See, there again, there goes an example of, you can say Isaac and Rebecca, right? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this is Isaac and Rebecca, you can say. And they had a son who's going to represent a sign, be a major sign for the end of the world, or the end of an age. So we're right there. Because these people are in rulership shows we're right there at the end. It's only a matter of time. Coupled with all the MOTB technology, the economic collapse, and also the rising and Kwame Ashala of our people waking up through the name of Yahweh Shemai Shai. Shalom.